Hello and welcome back to her Gypsy Rebel podcast with your host, Jacqueline Van Beek. How are you guys doing today? How has your week been? It's officially the middle of January. Yes, time is flying, and I hope you're having a great time and you're really changing it up this year. Like this year is all about just doing what feels right. No more shedding, no more contemplating, no more hesitating. Just go for what feels right. Really aligned action is what's needed this year to really excel and also have a lot of fun. That's one of our rules and goals this year in my household, in my soul. So today's episode is so fun because it's very spontaneous. I had something completely different planned. I am holding my Declutter challenge, my 7-day Declutter challenge on January 19th. So you still have time. It starts on Monday. It's a holiday. So you'll have plenty of time to jump on the Zoom. It's going to be 7 days of Zoom calls, 30-minute Zoom calls with breath work, starting with the breath work, intention setting, and really figuring out what do you actually want to create in your space. This is a very personalized thing because everybody's different, right? What works for one person doesn't work for the other person. So you will have so much freaking fun and you will see a transformation after those 7 days and create a habit, a new habit that will help you just have a bit more order in your life. But with no further ado, let's get straight into our guest, my friend Sierra West. We we are doing a collaboration on a song and we started talking and I said, Sierra, let's just jump on a podcast. Like I want to interview you right now because what you are sharing, what we are talking about right now is so needed, is so fun and so important for people to hear. Let's just do it. So with no further ado, here's my friend, singer, songwriter, and the creator of songsfordogs.com, Sierra West. Hello,
So good.
Sierra. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I am great. I am so this is like a totally spontaneous thing. We actually are doing a collaboration and we kept talking about dogs, which we're both so passionate about. And that's one of the reasons Sierra like hit me up. She's like, "You want to be part of this collaboration we're doing?" I'm like, "Sure." We've been talking about dogs and geeking out on music and songwriting camps and how we met. And I'm like, let's record a short episode for the podcast. I just love you so much. We really bonded when we were in the Hawaiian Songwriting Festival. We had so much fun riding the bike around and just being goofy and having fun, you know? And God, that was so, I want to go back to Hawaii so bad. But tell us about your story. You've had a lot of struggles. You've overcome a lot of things, and you're such a talented musician. We talked about how it can be so heartbreaking for so many musicians trying to break in, in the sync world and as a singer songwriter. Because A, that's a lot of singer songwriters. B, when you do the songwriting camps and you're submitting for pitch for film and TV, there's always this, your voice is good, but your music sucks, or the one lyric is not good, or your production is not that good, and it just, as artists, I understand it's a business. We both understand that, but at some point, you have to draw a line, right? Tell us a bit about how, and then you went back to music school. So tell us a bit about where you are now and what you've learned from, being, we both did it. We both kind of started doubting our path in music and we're about to kind of quit, but obviously we were meant to do this. So it's bringing us always back to music and what you've learned and where you are now and the boundaries that you're setting now.
Yeah, I mean, so much. When I grew up on the East Coast and I'm back in Connecticut, Massachusetts area. Um, and I grew up with animals on a farm. I'm a vet tech, and I found music like that music could be a career, and that I could actually write songs that people wanted to hear when I was in college for the first time. And since then, a lot has changed, and it's changing like faster and faster. It feels like every time I get used to the way one aspect of the business is, it changes by the time that I learned the last thing. And so, I think like so much of the time it was like I don't know how to write with other people, not because I don't want to, but because of fear, because I just and lack of experience. Um, when I moved to California, it was the first time I did co-writing. And it was really fun. I mean, I love co-writing. I think it took me out of myself, and it took this like introspective, metaphorical way of thinking and writing into something really playful and exciting. And I grew, and I feel like I grew just years and years and years faster than I would have if I just was by myself. And I I went out there thinking like I mean I had that like I'm gonna get my song in placed. I'm gonna get my music in a TV show. I had wanted it since I was like 14, you know, just it was a dream and a thought, and like, oh my God, I think it was like back in the Dawson's Creek era where I was like, I want to be like Katie Curtis in that scene. Like that's kind of how it started. Like, oh, if she could do that, I could do that. And it was a lot of, you know, I pushed this EP that I did with Lauren Entrus in Boston before I moved to California. And it took me going to like every event. I would go to every event. I joined every organization anyone told me about. My first event was the San Diego Songwriters Guild, and I placed in their competition like right away. I won a ticket to Durango for free because Jim picked my song, and then that got me motivated to just go all in. I was all in once that happened. I was like, okay, and what other events are there? What's Taxi? What is ASCAP? Like I didn't know they had an expo. I didn't know they had a road rally. I didn't okay, oh, there's a CSAC boot camp. There's other it's just so many opportunities. There's like luncheons you can go to, and there's the meetups that you can go to, and then there's like listen local radio was a big thing when I joined my girl band, with Calamity.
Mm.
And I but it was so much work, and it took, I think like I released my EP in like 2013, and I think my first placement was like several years later. Through the San Diego music thing, I met uh, the folks at Honeypot, and
Mm.
then I got invited to play at the Mint in
Oh, nice.
LA. And when I played at the Mint, to be honest, I didn't bring a whole lot of people. I tried, but it's hard.
It's so
Like the
hard in LA.
constant push to get people out is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
exhausting. And it's like, I maybe was able to get 5 people, and one of them was my fiance. You know what I mean? Like it was like one of those, but I did my best. I did everything I could do. And I ended up with a publishing deal with them, and I got my first placement with Hold Your Fire from the season premiere of Resurrection like that many years later. And I remember sitting there with a candle, and I lit this candle. Actually, I've never said this to anybody before. I lit this candle with intention. Like I was like it was actually like the green like money prayer candle, and I
Hmm.
was like lighting this candle, and I was like, oh, please God, because I just spent $10,000 on a radio campaign that hardly did anything in my mind. And then I did this like PR. I paid for PR for the first time. I got the HMMA award nomination, Out Music award nomination. Like I did all these things, and then but never like made it, right? Like I was always like on the brink, on the cusp, but never good enough.
Yeah.
And like, but so when I was like thinking about all of these experiences, and then you think of all the people that are like, when are you going to give this up? When are you going to quit? I mean, yeah, your voice is great, but come on, like give it up already, that kind of stuff. Um, just all that's going through my head. And I finally got to a place where I was like, no, like I have a goal. I have a clear thing that I want, and it's achievable. I know I can achieve it. Literally, Matt, who at the time who worked for Honeypot, I get the phone call like in the middle of me sitting in my little apartment in Solana Beach being, and I was like, "Oh my God." And he goes, "So I hope you have your website up and ready and the song is released and everything on iTunes because you're going to be on the season premiere," which you don't usually get told.
Right.
Usually you don't get to know. I had the blessing of being able to know. So I was like, okay, so I was able to like make sure that I knew if things were out, and like I thanked ABC and I thanked Honeypot and all that stuff. But like, and then that was it for so long, right? Like, but I was still working hard. You just like I kept going to songwriting camps, and I thought about hosting my own. I still think about hosting my own songwriting camp because I've
Let's do
been to
it. I
so
want to
many
do that.
different
So,
kinds.
yeah, same.
I know how they all work
Be so awesome.
because I've been through every single different kind you can think of.
And we know what's missing. I know what most of them miss.
Mm-hmm.
And one big factor
Yeah,
is that the song should be
the
finished.
finishing,
The song should be
the
finished
finishing.
there, not later, because it oftentimes does.
Nope.
All my songs that most of them did not be, yeah,
Yeah, that we've been talking about that too. Like so many great songs, and then like I don't know if I can even release them or not
yeah,
because the paperwork's different. There's people that are involved. There's admin things. There's like the
so
stuff
much.
that it's like, do I release this? And also, a lot of times it's stuff that's a little off off the box, right? Like it's like outside the box, and a lot of my stuff is like that. I learned about doing side projects, and the same thing. It started, I have a whole side project from Hawaii, and it was great and awesome, and it never finished. We released one song, but we have four, you know? So and I wanted five
Frustrating. Hmm.
just because. But now I'm like, well, three is fine. Then I'm like, well, now I'm just gonna move on,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I think I think it's like the finish line is so important. And so I decided to go to school to finish it myself. Honestly, I was like, I'm so tired of not having a producer in the room. We need more women. We need more female producers, period. And I I could be one of those people. And you were one of the people I looked up to because I was like, "Oh my God, you're a female producer." And
Thank
like you're
you.
doing I was like scared to hit the record button at the time. This is like how much I did
Yeah.
not know how to go into a DAW or get, the Apollo twins my life now.
But
It's like
I will say
all
that,
those kind of things I didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah, I get that. But I will say that on the other hand, you are I could not touch a guitar and just like play like you do. And so I think that it's nice when everybody has their thing that they do really well, and then just finding the combination, like finding that partner. But then the challenge, I think, is that you have to still find a producer or a collaborator that also wants to finish a song, and it shows up and is not like, oh yeah, I'll collab, yeah, I forgot about that, I got busy doing something else, because creative people, shiny, right? It's easy to get distracted.
Yes.
And yeah, so sorry for
Yes.
interrupting you, but I wanted to say that because you were always, I admire your voice and how you could just pick up your guitar and write something so beautiful and so deep. You're just a really awesome writer, and you just add it to your toolbox. That's freaking smart.
Thank you. That's funny you say that because it's so interesting when like to hear what someone else like how somebody else sees something because actually like I if I was in a room with like two other co-writers and I knew someone else played guitar, I would be like, you're definitely the guitar player, like automatically. But yeah, it's interesting because the guitar for me became really painful at one point, and I like couldn't play guitar without crying, because my dad was a guitar player and had a vintage guitar store, and he passed away, and so I have like all these guitars from his shop that went bankrupt, and they're not in good condition, and so it's sort of this like push pull like this painful thing. This is Dylan.
Hi,
And
Dylan.
it just was like so hard to overcome. But once I started keeping it simple again, like I don't need to be the best like jazz guitar player, or I don't need to do improv and scales and play lead. I can just like keep it simple and start with something. Start with a chord progression. And when I started doing that, I pushed through the tears in front of people. Literally, I was at another songwriting camp. I was at Dar Williams songwriting retreat and cried in front of everybody, all 40 people, and I ended up getting booked for Black Bear Americana Festival here because they just love Ian loved the song. And sniffing my
Sniffing your head. That's so cute.
I know.
I
I,
love that so much
so,
because, crying in front of people is
yeah,
such a vulnerable state to be in. And for you to be
yeah.
allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be yourself, because one thing I've always loved about you when we were in Hawaii too, like so many people put on this mask and this front, right? Like it just, I get it because you don't want to necessarily show people because you don't want to be judged. But in the world we live in now, especially, I think authenticity is so needed, and to show our struggles and to share our struggles, because not every being an artist, oh my God, we've picked one of the hardest professions ever, because not only are we always bleeding our soul in front of strangers, but we also, there's so much, we talked about this earlier, there's so much work up front that doesn't get you paid. You don't clock in, make your hours, and or present a project, and then you get paid big bucks for it. It doesn't always, not all. It sometimes maybe, but not always. For the majority of us,
Yeah.
we have to wait for 6 months, 9 months, 10 years to get paid for a song. That is not an easy
Yeah.
business to be in.
No, and even then, sometimes you don't even get paid that much.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
you know,
it's like, ooh, you know,
exposure. You want
I
some
can maybe
exposure?
buy a coffee today.
Would you like
Right.
me to play this song for exposure?
Yeah.
Exposure doesn't pay my bills. It's like
Well, and
your landlord.
also,
You're
like,
like, ask my
yeah, it's
followers to pay the
interesting that,
rent.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we were talking too, like I've been in so many situations where I'm like I'm I think for so long, like I think we were talking about just gratitude and like being able to have just some sort of win and leaving it at that, at like the good thing. And I went through a period where I just did like everything I could and just was I think the hardest part when like everything's good and it doesn't go anywhere. And like people are pitching it, everything is working, voice is great, song is great, the production is finished, goes nowhere for years, for
Crickets.
years.
Yeah.
And I got depressed and anxious again and just was like I'm I never stopped learning. I never stopped taking classes at Berkeley. I right now am in the middle of my capstone and I will be officially done with my first bachelor's in music. Not my first bachelor's, but my first like arts degree. Um, and I think I started that path taking online courses. I mean, I had applied to the school way back in like 2005. I got in, didn't go because I was like, I'm going to busk and I'm going to play in the subway and I'm going to be like Tracy Chapman and I'm going to make it because that's what she did in the beginning too. And I did that for 10 years. and like
That's
and then,
brave. I admire people
yeah,
that busk. I've never done it. I think that is a brave thing to do.
it's a lot of it's a lot more fun when you have somebody else with you so you can go to the bathroom and come back without getting your stuff stolen.
What is like your best, your most amazing story, magical story from busking, and one is one that's like really the worst ever, like the crazy like story.
uh, I think honestly the worst ever was like I had a whole setup and it wasn't perfect because it was really bulky and I actually had to go. It didn't fit on the escalators, but you had to go down to get to the platform where you're allowed to play because you have to have a permit. And like I had to go down. I had to carry all this big amp, this huge, the guitar, all the things, and I get down there and then I was like, okay, I'm all set up. Everything's gonna go great. And it's like 5:30. You want to be there early in the morning when everyone's going to work. So like 5:30 to 7:30 is key.
Damn.
But then there's people that are like waiting. So some people were like insanely rough about it. Like they were like, Park Street's mine, and like you're like, okay, buddy, I'll go somewhere else. So then you have to go somewhere else. But like, yeah, people are territorial. Or like, I did not anticipate that aspect of it. I was like, oh wow, buddy, this is cool. Okay, I get it. You're claiming your spot. But that
Are you
wasn't even
talking
what
about other people busking and
yeah,
like they have,
yeah,
oh
other
wow.
people busking are like, this is mine for today, and they're there
Oh,
like for, yeah, that's like, because there's some key spots that make money.
right, right.
Usually Park Street was the one, was like the big one.
That was
But
in LA or that was in
in Boston,
Boston?
yeah. But the the worst part was after I got everything set up, and there was no one there being like, "That's my spot. I got the spot." And you pay to go in. Like you have to spend money to do it.
Oh wow.
So I'd pay to go in, and then I'd be like done with my coffee, and then but you can't leave to go get a coffee because you have to keep playing. And then if like you didn't make enough money to like go get the coffee and pay to come back in, then it's like, but also the part I didn't think about was having to go to the bathroom
Oh my God.
and taking all your stuff up the stairs.
Oh my God.
So
Hmm.
it's a whole thing. So I recommend going with a friend or keeping it really light and sweet.
Mm. See,
So
these are all things people don't
you
think
can
about.
go
They,
in and out with wheels or
oh
not.
my God.
I recommend light equipment, you know, or go with a friend.
Hmm. Holy shit. Yeah.
Because they
People
can
think
watch the
you just
stuff
set
and you can
up
get
and
coffee forever. So that was my favorite time was I had this friend Patri, her and I used to go and play and that was the most fun and I learned you could play the same we used to play I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen over and over and over and over again. It made a lot of money.
oh yeah.
But the beautiful thing is you could play the same song over and over and over again because everybody leaves every
Yeah.
5-10 minutes.
Hmm. So you just need to know like
Nobody
five
cares what
songs.
you're doing. Yeah, pretty much. But I didn't know, so I would like work and memorize a 3 hour thing, and then I was like, "Gosh, I only have to, I only have to play 2 songs all day," you know.
Oh my God. That's brave though. That's and I think it's a great way to get your chops like, to where you want them to be and then you can
I
play anywhere.
definitely, yeah, that was definitely the best I ever played guitar was when I was doing
Wow.
that.
That's
And
amazing.
but yeah, I mean, but it's like the sometimes like what you think is going to happen is not at all the reality.
Yeah.
And when and the same thing with me with genre, like I love writing in multiple genres, but everyone's like stay in, pick a lane, pick this or do a side project and do that. And when I would have like one good thing happen that was just a good thing, I could keep going and hear any kind of critique all year actually. But when there's no wins and it's like a constant judgment for that long, it's like but it's also when you're at the point where they're like, your voice is perfect for this, and there's not like, then there's nothing to work on, and
Yeah.
you're like, what do I do now? Because when you're like, uh-oh, okay, now what,
Yeah.
you know so my now what is, I'm getting better at engineering and mixing, and um you know have mentors and a beautiful group of people that help me navigate my emotions around music, and like how to make it viable again. um and honestly, I don't know how this happened. I'm also an animal lover like you, but I think we really bonded because we both love our dogs so much.
Yeah.
And
We love music and we
take
love
them
dogs.
everywhere. And so I walk these two dogs, Harry and Larry, twice a week
Harry
here,
and Larry.
and
That's so hilarious. Oh God,
oh my
so
God, they're
cute. So
so
cute.
adorable.
Just the names. It's
And
so cute.
I know, Harry and Larry. And Harry was from the Bronx, and he's like, he's just like the coolest. And
Harry's
Larry's
from the
like the
Bronx.
cooler, calmer older brother, you know. And and I decided to start a custom songwriting company
Nice.
for stories and dog songs. And I went through a lot of like brainstorming. It's still not even something that's like published out, but I've already started it. It's already happening. Um, I've had 5 people want songs, and I didn't even publicize it to anybody. Like told like
I love
maybe
that.
10 people total.
Love it.
And yeah, and I'm starting a custom dog song company, and it's just called Custom Dog Songs.
Simple. Keep it simple. I love
Yeah.
that so much. And I also love like we talked about this earlier, how, as an artist, you have a lot of ideas and then you start questioning your craft and your skills and your path in general. And and then somehow everything comes back full circle, right? Where it's like, all right, what if I do this, but my way and not, yes, we're not bashing songwriting camps. We're not bashing the industry in general. The industry is like questionable, but there's a lot of corruption going on. But at some point, everybody is doing the same thing. And when everybody is trying to, going for the same placement, for the same ad, you're competing with all these major artists that have fully equipped amazing studios, producers. I mean, it's not just the two of us or the one, just you or just me. It's about a whole team. So there's a lot of competition, and I'm not saying it's not possible because it's also about vibe, but
Yeah.
it's really tiring when you submit, you get rejected, you submit and you get judged and you get criticized. You got to change this, you got to change that, and you end up doing all these changes and nothing is happening, and you feel like, wow, I must just suck, right? And it's very, and I, this is for
Yeah.
every artist out there. You have to at some point say, you know what? I appreciate your feedback. I will take it into consideration, but the real proof is like, first of all, are you really loving it? Because if it resonates with you, it resonates with somebody else. Because a message from the heart always resonates with other people. And so you taking that initiative, I think, is so powerful because now it's like, yes, I'm going to take charge of my career. I'm not going to wait for someone to approve my song is perfect now for placement until someone else says, "Well, I love everything, but the snare is too loud." And you know what I mean? And maybe even pay the producer or like a team, a mastering house to do all this, and now you have to go back. It's just so, take control over your own career and your own, and value your own music. And you doing that, it's already proven because you already have some clients without you having even like everything put together. And I
Oh
want to
my gosh, it's
congratulate you for
amazing.
that, because why wait for it being perfect and fully completed when the real thing is the song, you know?
Well, yeah, and it's so interesting because I just realized just now, I didn't even have like a name in mind for a company. I just was like, you know what? I'm feeling so heavy and so like just confused and unsure where to go and annoyed and like tired of it all, and I'm like, what, how can and I have two very important passions, animals and music. Always had. I was born with it, you know. And like both of those things, I was like, well, what, how do I bring the joy back in music, and how do I bring more joy into people's lives, because we need it. It's rough out there. And so I was like, I wonder if I wrote a song for Harry and Larry, if that would be like a thing, like writing for they're not musicians, not a musical family, so that was new, a new idea for me. And it was like a complete success. And then I told a friend, and she was like, "Oh my God, I have to buy one for my mom for Christmas." And her whole family went in and bought a song. I didn't even have my whole recording set up here yet. But I sure as hell put it together really, like, for this song to be recorded well as a gift. And that was a hit. And even still, I'm still like remixing it, and just I actually just finished a new mix of it on Friday. And so now going into the third song that I'm gonna write, I have my templates, I have my setup, I have the technical stuff, and it's all about the bringing those moments together. But for me, it's finally making like my two passions come together and having fun again with music, with and having the gratitude just exist. It just is like an incredible feeling. Even, it's like I still am like, I don't know, is this a thing? I ask myself this frequently, like, is this a thing? And I hear everyone that I've talked to in my head also echoing like, it's a thing.
It is a thing.
you know
It is a thing.
it definitely is, man. Do people love their dogs and want to share? And even if you don't have a dog, a family member or a friend that does, that is just like you and me, like, about our dogs.
Oh yeah.
you know?
It's funny. Before I got bald, I remember like running in my park and I would see this cute little, it was like a French terrier or something. And he was, black and white. He was so freaking cute. I would run extra rounds just to see that dog again. Every time I would see that dog, I'd be like, oh my God, he's so cute. And they would look at me and I'm like, oh my God, I love dogs. And when I got bald, they told me the shelter was like, "Oh yeah, he loves running. He's perfect for you." He hated running. He's like, "You want to run? Go for it." Like I don't want to run, and I had to like try all kinds of tricks. And I was like, he does not want to run, so I'm gonna stop because it was exhausting. Having like a treat, holding it in front of him, like, come on,
Oh
ball."
my
And because we talked about, then we started talking about the stories, and you actually lit a fire under my ass again about me wanting to release a book about bald and stories, because shelter dogs, oh my God,
oh my
they
gosh.
are such a blessing, right? And people that go out and pay thousands of dollars for like a dog from a breeder, there's a shelter dog somewhere for you waiting, because shelter dogs are actually on death row in a way. A lot of shelters, they have to make
Yeah.
room to get everyone in there, because people, let's be real, right? We want to be positive, but there's a lot of assholes out there that just abandon the dog because suddenly they don't care about the dog anymore, or they have excuses. Honestly, I could be broke and have nothing. I would never get rid of my dog. You know what I mean? Like, my dog is my everything. He saved me so many times over. So I could never do that. But these things happen, and then shelters get so full. And so we love sharing this because people need to be more aware of that. I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to bring the dog to the shelter and he's safe there. Not necessarily, you know, not
Yeah,
necessarily.
you gotta do your research too, or at least try to place them yourself.
Yeah.
If because there are circumstances where people don't have the option, but
Yeah,
it's important to do everything you possibly can. And
absolutely.
and then you end up very surprised. Like, Dylan sleeps. He's a greyhound, but he takes over everything.
Oh yeah.
He's like, he takes over the entire bed all the time and messes it up. And he sleeps like 18 hours a day if I let him. but he's but he's the fastest couch potato on the planet.
It's so hilarious.
you know.
So our two dogs,
And he
Bob,
has tattoos. I love that my dog has tattoos, but
he
I don't.
does.
Dylan has tattoos, but I don't.
He's the cool one.
Yeah,
What? How does he
he
have tattoos?
is. He was gonna race. He was a grand. He's a grand rescue.
Oh,
So
okay.
on one ear they have their litter. They have their litter number, and like you can look up their whole
Oh,
family background and their whole pedigree and all that. And then on the other ear it's their racing number. So
okay.
you can look up like all their information. But Dylan, never raced. So I got him during COVID. So he was 2 and was about to race, and then he came to me.
And tell us
So he's very goofy,
and
and
tell us
he
about,
doesn't mind cats or kids or any of that.
yeah. I know, like Zoom sometimes is like overlaps. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Um, but tell us about, you got Dylan, but you had someone else before Dylan, and that's why you had to get
Oh,
Dylan again. Not again. That's why you had
Leroy.
to get Dylan. Yeah.
I had Leroy. You know what's? I didn't even mean to do this, but I realized like, okay, both my dogs. Now Leroy was very special. He was like, we had such a strong soul bond immediately. Like the second I saw him, I knew he was my dog. And there were other dogs at the rescue that were, that they thought were a better fit for our house. And I was like, oh no, we will work with him. I know I will wait for this dog. I'll wait. And we waited like a month and a half or it was a long time. And we got him, and he just Leroy. So he would come everywhere with me. I would take him. I would actually take him to Durango. I would take him. I took him into the hotels and stuff. And at Durango, in our room, we started singing the bad Leroy Brown.
The what?
So he was like, when he was a punk rebel dog, he was bad Leroy Brown. And then when when he was like going to an awards show or something, or had to be like proper, I would put a bow tie on him, and he was Leroy boy or Leroy. So I'd say good boy Leroy or bad Leroy Brown.
Oh
And then Dylan, which I didn't realize, I say Silly Dilly. That's one of his nicknames, but the other one is Dylan the villain.
my God.
Like if he does something bad, like he rips up dog beds all the time and throws them around the dog yard, and foam gets everywhere. And I go, oh, Dylan the villain.
Dogs are so funny.
So like both of them rhyme with good and bad dog
That's
names.
hilarious. I know
They're
Bald is
rebel
like, well,
dogs.
you know Bald. Bald and Leroy
Yeah,
actually got to do a bunch of
they
stuff
were
when you came.
buddies.
They were buddies, you know.
They
Um,
got they got puppy ice cream
oh
together.
yeah, oh yeah. And it's funny that you said that with the bed because I feel like, man, I don't know. I don't get many good night's sleep because when I go to bed, it's like Bald is like in the middle of the bed because he doesn't want to be on the edge. He gets scared. So and then Zeke, the pity mix, he is like he's it's so funny. Bald is on top of the blanket, Zeke is under the blanket. Like I don't even know how he breathes like at night. But he's hot to begin with, but he's my heating pad. Like he's so warm. But they both like stretch out and I'm like, me and my boyfriend, I'm like, where are we sleeping? You know what I mean? Like there's like no fucking room here. And then I sleep like my legs are like out like this, my it's like, when did this become a thing that they are more comfortable than me? But
I have
we
no
love them.
idea.
I know, but we love them,
Yeah.
it's just it's part of the deal. I can't get myself to
Greyhounds
fall.
are crazy.
They're crazy. They're all
And
crazy.
they're all crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he thinks so. Dylan thinks he's the size of a Jack Russell. So he will curl up and sleep in the Jack Russell's bed, and then the Jack Russell buddy is in Dylan's bed. And it's like, what is happening? So Dylan will flip upside down. I guess they call it the roach position. So he'll flip upside down with his legs and
Oh.
his feet up, and he stretches out. But he did that once, and he rolled over right onto the floor. So, so he now will only sleep by, by the wall, or if I'm sitting here, this is his time to sleep on this side because he falls off the bed.
Yeah, I think that's why Ball fell once. So he's like, no more. Like he
Now
needs to
they
be in the
won't
middle.
do it.
Yeah.
Nope.
And now I got him stairs because he can't really jump on the bed anymore. So I got him stairs. And yesterday he's always him and I are so much alike. Are you and Dylan a lot alike? Like or Leroy? Because Bald and I have so many similarities. It's actually pathetically funny. But like he always like he can't wait, right? I'm like, let me open the door first before you can come in, right? But he's like, oh, I'm gonna go now, and then he hits his head on the door. Yesterday, I put the I put the stairs up. I'm like, all right, hold on 1 second, Bald. I have to still like pull him out. No. So he's trying to get up the stairs. He hits my leg and he falls off. He looked at me like, "What happened? Did I miss?" I'm like, "Yes, you did." And he's like, he just looked like traumatized and like confused at the same time. It was just so funny. And I'm like, these, I mean, dogs are just such a blessing. You know what I mean? Like
They
they're just,
are.
I always say like dogs, that's the reason why dog and God, the spelling, they just flipped it. But it's definitely a godlike entity in our space for sure.
I remember when we were doing the songwriting camps when they were at was the Ace Hotel.
Yes.
When we went out there, I remember both of us talking to Pam and being like, "So I think we should be able to bring our dogs to this.
Which we
Can
should.
we bring our dogs to song camp?"
It'd be so much better. And I mean,
I
Bolt
think
is
the
like a
answer is
service
yes.
dog now anyway, so he can come anywhere and he's been pretty much everywhere with us. And I told you earlier, like he has
Yeah.
this bald spot right now because he had a hot spot, so I had to shave it right above his ass. It looks a little
Oh,
funny. It looks funny, but he's a trooper. But oh my God. So I love this so much. And we geek out over dogs. So I hope you guys, your listeners are still here. But our message is really that first of all, really do what you're passionate about. And what I love for you the most, Yara, is that you found something. And I know we question things because we're like, it can't be that easy, right? It can't be that simple. It cannot
yeah.
be that. That's it. But it's like when it finally hits us, where it's like, yeah, duh, your passion is this and that, and the two things combined. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So stop overthinking it and just call it, songs for dogs. Why not? What's there to
Yeah.
overthink?
Totally
And I love that
customized.
because we tend to overthink, and especially as artists, like we think everything has to be eloquent and unique and blah blah, and it is unique, but it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be so much work and overthink everything. So I'm so happy that you are doing that. And honestly, when yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, this also resonates with me. And we're gonna do this, the animal sanctuary. We're gonna do this. We're gonna make that happen. Um, because the
Yes.
mission, when your mission becomes so big that it's scary, you're onto something, I think. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And well, and I love what you mentioned about just, being you can talk yourself out of things when you're fearful or starting something that you really care about and are unsure like how it's going to go over. Like one of those things with this company is like I love all animals like as a vet tech and like but I dogs just happen to be the thing to write about that people, that's like what to do now. And I've had several people say like what about, will you write about cats? Absolutely. So now there's like a tag that says and other pets too. because instead of coming up with like this all-inclusive name, it's like I I just want to bring joy back to music and into combine the two passions together and bring joy to people's lives with music and animals.
I so love that. And yeah, I think you're totally on the right path. And it's also beautiful that when you finally realize that, yeah, this is my passion. I'm not going to let anything and anyone stop me. I'm just going to like kind of pave my own way. That's amazing. Well, thank you for being
Yeah.
so spontaneous and turning our collaboration, our writing session into a podcast episode. But we're not
I
even going to
love
share what we're going to, I know, right? We're like, oh, yeah, let's do this real quick because this is, we were just like talking. I'm like,
it.
this should be
Share our
recorded.
project.
I know, right? Um, yeah, because a lot of times, and that is another so important thing, is like when you start talking to people that really get you and you've like almost like a mastermind where you just start like feeding, like throwing something at you, and then you give me like an idea when I said, man, that reminded me, I've been wanting to release my book with balls like for the last 2 3 years, I think.
I
and
love it.
and then I start overthinking, and
Do it.
then and we overthink things when it's just, it doesn't have to be complicated. So anyone listening, whatever your passion is, whatever your ideas are, if they sound crazy and if that scares you, you're probably on the right path. Because normal, who wants normal? Nobody wants normal, and nobody wants something that already exists. But also, I think, don't let that stop you if already somebody else is already doing something similar to you, because then nobody should be a songwriter, right? Because there's already like 20,000 songwriters out there.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing
Adapt
your
and
story.
adopt.
Adapt and adapt. And I'm excited about our collaboration, and we will share our song when it's done. Um,
Yeah.
we're so excited. And it's also cool that we have not, I love you for the reason also we haven't spoken. Well, I mean, we recently got back in touch, but we have, it's been a while, a few years, I think. And I love when
Yeah.
certain people, you can just like connect with them again. And it feels like we just left off where
I
we
know.
started again where we left off like four or
Are
five
we
years
gonna go
ago.
to the pool riding our bikes in Hawaii?
Oh my God, that was so
Let's go to the
magical.
gym.
I know, and
Let's
I
go to
can't
the
wait to
gym
do that
before
again.
everyone starts.
Well, that might be our songwriting camp that we are gonna hold because we're gonna do it different. And so you guys should stay tuned for
Yeah.
that too. And there's definitely gonna be dogs and cats allowed. Yeah.
Yes.
Where can people find you and get a hold of you?
Um, yeah, online. I'm currently working on custom dog songs. It'll be dogsong.com. But it's Sierra West Music. SierraWestMusic.com.
Hmm. And can people also get a hold of you on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, or you
Oh yeah,
prefer just email?
anywhere.
Sierra West. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'm so excited for you and your journey and our collaboration. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. This was so much fun, and I hope you got a lot out of it. And really, the major takeaways from today's show are, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean you have to do it the same way. Own your craft, own your voice, your unique voice. As a singer, songwriter, as a creative in general, we often question and doubt our path because it's not one size fits all. Everybody has a unique path. And once you realize your passions and you combine those passions, oftentimes we feel they are separate. But as Sierra was showing us, right? Like when you meet those passions, they can completely align and create something unique and so valuable for the world. So, and the other takeaway is adopt a dog. If you want a best friend for life, I know that your time is valuable. I appreciate you for being here. If this resonated with you, share it with a friend of yours. Also, comment, like, subscribe, and leave a testimonial. And don't forget, if you're interested in decluttering, take my declutter course, 7 days. That's all it takes, 7 days to create new habits. And with that said, I'm going to see you in the next one. As always, make every day a great day, and always, always follow your bliss. Speak, break the silence, pray for the broken. from the ashes we shall rise again. Hear the calling echoing, echoing from within. Rise from the ashes we shall rise again.